Good morning, it's me again, Daryl, here with the old 91 Electra Glide Classic, Ultra Classic. I did a video a while back about the fuel gauge, how to fix it. Was just cleaning up the terminals and getting it going again. And apparently that did not work, and that was not the whole problem. I've got another problem besides that. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to try and do to solve my fuel gauge problem. Okay? Stay tuned. Your fuel gauge is under your tank bib, and on this one I've got the CB radio and all that stuff. But I disconnected all that. Everything was rotten and old, so I took it all out. So I've got no wiring going except for the one for the tank. So when I did the video, what I did was this was all rusted. So I took a piece of sandpaper, cleaned it up, and cleaned the terminals, and actually got the fuel gauge to come up. Worked for a little while, and then it stopped. So what I found out after, get you down here, this is right where the bend is for the tank, or where the seat goes. Apparently the yellow wire was just hanging on there. It was really brittle. I could take the wire, snap the coating. So I took a new wire, put it on, put it back together, plugged it back in, and the gauge worked again. I did one trip on it, and then the gauge went down to empty and never came back up again. So my solution is I went to Amazon. So come over here and I'll show you. So I picked myself up a universal 2-inch universal fuel gauge. There's the part number if you want to get one, if this works. I haven't tried it yet. But this is what you get in the box. Put you down here a little bit. So you get a float. It's not too bad, I guess. You get a, what do you call the sending unit? So full and empty. And it's universal. You can move these up and down. And this is where your wire connectors go. So when you put one of your screws in, you just put your ground wire on there. So this can go down into the tank and up into the tank. So what I'm going to have to do, I'll show you that in a minute. It also comes with a set screw. I don't know where that goes. It just fell out of the box when I opened it. You get your bolts and washers and all that stuff. And little instruction thing. Then you get a actual, I haven't even opened this yet, 2-inch fuel gauge, which as far as I know will fit right in where my voltmeter came out, because I've already got one of those USB plug-ins and it gives me volts on that. So I don't mind taking that out to put a fuel gauge in. So hopefully that'll work. So there's my wires here. Everything is just exactly the same as what's on the Harley. So we're gonna try and install that and make this work as a Harley. So we're gonna come over here and I'm gonna show you when I did this. Let me go back over to the bike. So here's my plug-in here, and then I've got the fairing off. So what I did was I put a couple of jumper wires on here to the gauge and then moved it from empty up to full. But because it's different ohm, my fuel gauge only went to about half a tank, and it never started to move until I was up over half a tank. So I know they're not compatible. So I mean, I might be able to fart around with resistors and all that stuff and get it to match, but I'm not going to do that. I don't have that kind of gear here, and no way I can do it. I'm not even going to try. So I'm going to just put the thing in the way I want. So that's where my voltmeter went. So that's what I'm going to put my fuel gauge. And over here is where, what was that? Oil pressure. Oop, shitty camera work here. That was my oil pressure. But now, let's see, can you see that? I got it set up for my air shocks. And then my voltage is up here. So I've got one of these little thingies I can plug a camera into, and gives me my voltage. So I know whether I'm charging or whether I'm not charging. So the first thing we got to do is get this out of here. And this is going to be the tricky part because it goes on an angle. Twist it this way, twist it that way. Try not to bend anything or break anything. There's a bit of gas in there, not a lot. But this is your unit here that sends a signal. And mine is corroded. It's gone right black. And it looks like all kinds of lumpies in there. I don't know. I think it's just rotted out. So we're going to try and make one. So now, tell you the truth, ideally, that one's on the other side, so I can move that one. That one's universal. I can take that off and switch it around anywhere. So we're going to have to do a little bit of playing around with this thing. Ideally, I would like to take that one off and put it on here. And just change the wire because I don't know if I'd be able to get those bends matched. Because this is the way it's got to go. I got to bend it, and I've got to make sure that these line up as well. I better check that too. Okay, so all these holes line up with this. So, but that has to go in. You see what I'm getting at? The holes are a little bit off, I think. If I put that flat against that one, this hole is right about here somewhere. And this, I believe, has kind of a square peg in it to lock it in. So I may have to take this one off and put this one on, flipped around, just to get it in there. So let's see what we got here. Wrench, what do we got? 5/16. Or I may just have to use this one. May have to use a lot of parts off of one from the other. which I'm no stranger to, believe me. Making something, yes, see, it has a square. It has a little square in there. So, okay, so let's put that one there, that one aside. Let's get this out of the way for a second. So let's get these wires off so I can work. Of course, that doesn't fit there. Size of that one. That's not it. 3/8 is it? Oh, it is a 3/8. Okay. Had them on tight enough. Now this one has its own dedicated lug for, whoops, for the ground. So let's put that there. Take this off, this off. So as you see, they both have a square hole. Let's take this little thing off, the seal. But if I put it there, then the holes don't line up. And if I bend that exactly like this one, my gauge is going to be in and up against the side of the tank. So I'm going to have to use that plate, probably this arm. I can take all this out and not use this thing. So let me come back and see what I can come up with about taking this apart to see if I can get this to work. So bear with me and I'll show you what's going on. So what I've done is I've drilled the rivets out of this thing and got it apart. This thing is just gone because all the wires are broken. Now, if you can see that in there, the wires are all broken and definitely wasn't making contact. I did spray that with contact cleaner. It definitely wasn't helping. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that. I've taken this one apart, and what I did was I took this thing, which was this way, and spun it around. And you got to be very careful because there's a little spring inside here, and that's what just gives that a little bit of tension. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to put this on here because it has to go that way on the arm. So I'll line it up. I'm going to drill 2 holes because these are already tapped for screws. And then I'll put 2 screws in here, and that should hold it against the arm. And then I can put my float on, and either this one or the new one, which is this little one. So it probably will work the same, I hope. So that's where we're at now. So let me get back to you, and we'll do the rest of this. This can get knocked out. Yep, there you go. Don't need that anymore. Okay. So I kind of got this figured out. It's got to go on this side, this way. So I've got to reuse this. That's the original plate, because if I do it with that plate, when I put this down, it's going to be tipped towards the front of the bike, and I think the gauge is going to hit against the front inside edge of the tank. So we're going to discard that. So in the instructions, they give you tank depth and all that stuff, and how much to cut your gauge for up and down. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and put these two together. I'm going to try and put it totally empty, and try and figure out, you know what I mean, how much I'm going to need. I might even use this arm. I can cut that off, and that float. This one's smaller. It may be nicer to put in there. But what I'm going to do, because of this length, I got to make sure that that's in the middle. So that's empty, and then we go full. So that would be full. So where this intersects, that's where my gauge, oops, that's where the length of my gauge has to be. Right in the middle of that, that's where that set screw goes. So I don't know if I should do that one or the little one. I think I'm going to do the little one so that it's edited away. Because this, oops. I don't know if that one would be hitting or not, but this one's tinier. So all I got to do is put these together so I can cut this one here somewhere. And as long as I got the mark, the mark is right there. And that's where I put my set screw. I should be good for up and down. Because this one's bigger. I don't think it'll go through there. Or is it? Yeah, it is. Should I try it? No. Yeah, I can. Yeah, so that won't go through there. So I'm not going to use that one at all. So I'm going to cut this one off. I'm going to cut it back here somewhere. So I got lots to play with. In and out and up and down. Because I may even take this out of the bike again and do some adjusting. I don't know. So I'm going to put it about right, cut it about right here. So let me try that and we'll be back. Okay, so I got my mark right there. My float is in line. I got my set screw in there. I'm going to put a dab of Loctite on it. That's a Phillips. So I'm going to put that in, hopefully. Nice and snug. And there's my float. So, okay, now we'll get our wire. Wrap that around a little bit. And well, this is the cheapest thing. They didn't even put a thing on here. They just put they bent the wire over. So I think this is it here. That one. Did that screw? I think. Yeah, it's that screw there. And you put the wire in there. Of course, it don't go in. There. Okay, let me put that up through. That goes on our little block. Oops. I'll be messing that up too much. And this goes on. And oh, come on. No. No. Where's our other one? It fell down here. Oh, so that block is higher than that block. So now we got to change that again. Okay. Push that out. Ugh. Let me tap that out. Oh, geez, that's a rigid wire. Okay, so it's the same thing, same block, but this block is higher than that one. We've got a little bit of rubber on it. So I guess we push our wire back in there. And that goes up there. Push our block on. We put this little bugger on. Well, I guess we should change that gasket, hey. I got that one silicone down there. No. We should change that gasket. Oh, come on, baby. Yeah, of course. Okay, so we will put a new rubber gasket on there. I guess it'll line up when I do this. Come on, get in there. It came out of there. So there we go. There it is there. Sort of. Put our rubber washer on. Put this thingy on. And I need my wire on. Right. This way. And my bolt. Oh. My way, so. Oops. Oh, come on. Get my wire on. Oh, gosh, this is not easy. I'm going to hear some sweary words here in a second, I think. Okay. That on and get that on real quick. Bingo. There we go. Now I put my ground wire on. There's a star washer. Put a star washer on. Remember that. And then my nut. Get this one tightened up a bit. So I'm going to test this before I put it in, and hopefully it works. Come on, baby, tighten up. Okay. So all these other parts, you don't even, oh, those go for my thingy there, so beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to try and give you a look at it. I got the gauge in, but I've got to say, these were the hardest little nuts I've ever put on anything in my life. They're 7/32. There's a flat washer, a lock washer, and it's at an angle. So I had to get it I had to get the wire on, the flat washer, lock washer, and then get a nut on in there. What I did first is I thought oh, that'd be great, I'll put it on out here. And then I realized, oh, it's got to come in from the back. So I had to take it all apart. It was hard enough as it was to do that, but I got it. So this one is your power wire. Orange on the Harley is power. And then I used the black. See, this was something, I can't remember what else was hooked up there, but there's two wires here that were hooked to something, and this one, the one that came off my voltage, so this was hooked to something else. I don't remember what it was, but there's the orange is power, the black one is ground, and then the yellow is the sending unit. So what I did was I cut in, instead of trying to get up under there and get in under there to get the wire off, I just pulled the little connector here and spliced a wire in and went up to my sending unit. So now what we're going to do is put the plug the sending unit in and power it on and see if the gauge goes up and down, or this gauge goes up and down. Okay, I did all that without pushing record. So, tried it. I put the, I hooked it up, did the float up and down, made sure everything worked. Right now she's in there. I only got 2 screws in there, but there's not a whole lot of gas in the tank. So, yeah. So she's just going above the empty mark. So I'm almost out of fuel. So I'm probably going on reserve there soon. Or maybe I should move that float up a little bit. Okay, let me play with that and I'll see what happens. See how much fuel I got. So I just want to show you, looking into the tank, and I'm seeing roughly half. I can see that I'm over the top of the filter, the Petcock filter. So what I did, I disconnect this. So what I did was I bent the rod down, so when it comes up, right now I guess it's about here, and I'm registering about 1/4 of a tank. So I'm thinking if I left like that, once she gets down to the reserve, that should be on the red, I'm hoping. If not, I'm going to take this out again and bend that, or let the lever come out a little bit further and bend it again. But that's right now where it sits. I'm going to try it like that to see how the bike runs, see how I feel. It's not hard to get this apart and do it again, so I'll put it back in. I'll turn the key and show you how far the gauge goes up. So all in, all screwed in. Oh, never plugged in yet. This way. Plugged in. And then I'll turn the key on. And we're just about a quarter of a tank. So I'm liking that. It's not too bad. Like I say, if I got to, I'm going to, I'll readjust the arm again, and I'll see how that works. So, okay, thanks for dropping in. This was a, oh, holy crap, a heck of a mess around. Like I say, it was okay, I just, trying to get those little wires on that gauge was incredible. So what we'll do now, we'll leave it at this. I'll get some fuel in. Hopefully it'll go right to the full mark, and we'll be good to go. Okay, so watch this video, or this one I think it is, and appreciate you showing up. Bye-bye.